Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Coming live from Fire Up Your Heart, children of God. And that's you, and that's you, and that's me, and that's me. I hope it'll be, it'll be. This has been on my heart for a while. It's sometimes once or twice a year, annual message. It doesn't matter. All of my stuff is, but anyhow. So I do once or twice a year, annual message. This one was more inspired in a different way with the Holy Spirit. And I was like, there's all these things, and we're not coming up with the right solutions. It's just round and round we go. Where it stops, nobody knows. Second, I was raised to have more of a worldly mind. Date. There's a lot of fish in the sea. It's the first way that they plotted my demise to keep me at home. I guess just to make me into an early whore. Plus, they like to look at me too, in a way. But we don't need to get into all that. So what I'm trying to say is, I was in the world, and in the 80s and 90s, everyone was just, a lot of people were still, or it was becoming more of a promiscuous society from the 60s till now, at the height now, because now there's so much sex to death, there's barely any kids, because they're an inconvenience, because sex is more important than, technically why sex was so special was to keep the human race going. But so what I'm trying to say is I'm coming from a perspective of I have done things that still haunt me, mainly because of peer pressure, and it truly was. And then that backfired, because then that was used against me with all the boys that wanted to marry me, and then I didn't probably do anything with any of them. And so from school, people are pretty messy with their stupidity. I have a lot of regrets. And I had sexuality confusions. I actually would, because I had already had so many predators as a child, I would literally fantasize about how easy men had it. And I hated men, but I loved them for a long time. And I know I wasn't born like that. This is what I'm trying to get to, though, is because we're way off already. Are we, though? Because it's another example of the world. People are telling me, young gay people, oh, most everyone's bisexual. You just make a choice. There's people like that we were just born by, and then it's kind of the earlier stages apparently of the tea movement. And I remember that threw me weird, but I was like, no, I kind of think about it sometimes, like, there's a lot of things that are easier for men than women. And men can just go around doing whatever they want. If they know the right people, they can just beat and rape women and do whatever they want. Get the babies aborted and pay for them in secret and have the family threatened or follow her around and destroy her life. I've had a few of those. And I was like, Lord, so bear with me. I'm going to try here. What would be the quickest route to at least slowing down availability of sex, the craving of that, the excessive viewing of it? What if girls who are still free to choose, they're not held by a handler or raised in the industry of exploitation? I was exploited as a child, and I was actually exploited with a local, some guys that went off to college and they thought they were big boys, and they came back and they were going to do a couple little low budget films that sucked, and they were actually Christians. They exploited me, but I didn't stay with the movie because all the guys were pigs, and I told them the script was really it was written so poorly that even though I knew I'd never be famous, I didn't even want to know. I didn't want anyone to ever know that I had, because they were waking me up in the morning to fuck me, okay? And I don't like to get woke. I don't need 3 hours to get ready, even for a set. It was ulterior motives. But I should have never agreed to the assignment. What are we doing now? It's the same thing about selling your soul. And technically I kind of did, because I was pressured into it to do a cast, like a plaster of my chest. And I'm like, why do we need this? I didn't even want to do the film because I knew it was going to be a flop. I read one page of the script. It was the worst thing I'd ever read. So obviously I go down as hell on wheels, right? Because I won't spread them wide for the perverts running the movie. I think I just left. I don't remember. Yeah, I did. And then they wouldn't give me my the plaster back. Yeah. But see, we can do this as a personal testimony story. I was dumber than I should have been for that age, see, so around 25. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm saying is, if there's anything that I could turn back in time, is leave the tatas and everything more private. So what? I got sick of hearing people say I was uptight, but then it backfired, right? And I hated it, and I was really bad at casual sex. It was more just kind of like, can we just get it over with? Because I'm not going to have any fun anyways, and I know that whatever the guy does, you can get it done with, right? And I wasn't willing to get, like, nitty-gritty with a girl, like, you know, like, not very, no. And so, but this is the point, is I don't want to be with girls anymore, okay? That door was shut many moons ago. I thought it was still there. That's how weird it was. So, be it it's a demon or it gets it's so planted young. Mine was very young. Because when I was exploited, they had me kissing boys and girls. Okay. That my same age or a little older. So how would I know the difference? Now, I almost just started swearing at the perverted parents out there. Okay, women. I'm talking specifically to women right now. Once you live that, you can't undo it. And it seems okay because it's easy money. And men are stupid and they'll look at it and they'll pay you tons of money. They're not really dumb. They're men. And they were made to be men to keep the human race alive. There are specific rules, actually, in many cultures about women just staying a little more covered up. You don't have to be just, turtleneck and crazy and just wearing a robe or whatever, or a sheet or a garbage bag, but women could literally shut down the exploitation of women and girls quicker than any other group. And that would be from stopping your private shows, even if you think it's light fare. Why? Why are we doing this? It's really sad, and it's another one of those bullet points, meaning on like a paper, okay, of God's upset. So now, obviously, women, us and ourselves, could not eradicate dangerous cartels, and technically if enough women with their brains left stopped prostituting themselves online and stuff, the pickings would be slimmer, and men would maybe have to start rethinking what they're doing. America alone has more online porn, than most any other country. And I know when I would browse here or there back in the day, I was like, how do we know how old these girls are and guys, and what are we doing? And so, see, I was schooled too, and I knew a lot of people that were into it. It was just normal, and I didn't want to make it normal because of my childhood, and that was how I was first exposed, was through porn. That's how they groom children. And it's one of the top ways they do it. It's not even like, hey, kids, sit down. They play the porn. And it's usually pretty rough stuff. It's not light. And they'll just play it with the kids in the house. And people say, well, that's not direct abuse. It is. It is. It's a rewiring of the brain. And I have direct information about this from more than one child from my past. Predator busting moments. And I didn't go about it right. Mama Bear went in and said how things were going to go. Or else. Now, do I recommend my methods? No, because, well, we see where this landed me. They can't get me killed. They've tried in the hospital so many times, you guys. They have wrote down everything wrong every time I reported human trafficking. I had locations. I had, like, a lot of victims in a group that could have been easily found. They blew that up. The FBI or one of the agencies under the FBI, and then they called the cops. They weren't supposed to. But see, this is about human trafficking. So see, ladies, if you'd shut your legs, get your tatas covered, and stop doing sex into the camera, and find a hobby. Learn knitting. Learn something, a skill for the brain. And stop dogging men that you use, but without them, you wouldn't have your views. So let's see who really is so dumb. Because you are. And you've taken the definition of a true woman and made it into nothing more than a two-bit whore. And a lot of us didn't want to be whores. And some of us were brief whores. And it was apparently just we didn't know what else to do other than just let people do what they wanted. Because that's what we were told. And it never helped if we said no anyways. So, coming from someone with a very extensive degree and perverts after me and after some children I knew, and I was the only one willing to risk absolutely everything, including my life, to let it be known what I knew in that small group. But see, they worked. It's called covertly, and it was way before I knew what was going on. Before my son. Because I knew with the first grandchild, and I was like, I'm out, and like within a year, or maybe a little more, it was really difficult to get out, because they wouldn't cut any of my car insurance or nothing to help me get the grants I needed. And actually at that time, which was fervently available, I'm not going to say maybe it was the best, like if the government, what they were doing, but in the sense of like a woman like me then, in the 90s, I could have had a full ride just from being a female in a family. I know this sounds crazy. I wouldn't get maybe a full ride, but I would have gotten a lot of help with books probably, or at least with the tuition and stuff. I would have been the first female, the last in the family, to receive a bachelor's degree. And some of the grants I found back in my high school, as early as sophomore year, were many. I could find many from art-geared universities, like natural science, social science, environmental type of stuff I was into. So, women, close up the sex shop and help our world, please. There are children and babies suffering because you will simply not stop using your body for money. I am literally going to beg you, but not like on my knees. It's more of a pleading. I hated when elders would say, don't do what I did. And it wouldn't make me want to go do it, but they didn't want me doing nothing nobody did. I don't know what they wanted me to do. Here I am in my skating outfit Wouldn't that be weird if I was still doing that? That's literally what people needed to make their lives better. And when it wasn't the narrative they wanted, boy, I got some hellfire resist for a long time. But listen, my hellfires are on earth, not somewhere else. But if you want to try to confirm that another way, you can go ahead and do so. Now, I hope I had enough fun here tonight to fuck everyone's head up. And girls, let's just, how about like I said, the one thing for people. Give Jesus a try for 6 months. See how it goes. But see, that's not a good example, because when someone gets to Jesus, usually the devil slams them so hard, they're lucky if they can make it through a month of steady faith without wondering what is going on. You know, maybe it was better before. I don't know, like this doesn't seem quite like what those prosperity preachers are telling me about. Yeah, if you don't believe in genocides and you're a staunch no needless wars, no wars, meaning you do protect your own country. And if there's a severe emergency where genocides and ethnic cleansing are taking place, then we would be a kind country. We would go in there and help rescue the victims and maybe help save their land for them. That's a just war. Just so that we have that clear. Our borders of our country. Who comes in? Who goes out? Now it looks like we're going to have to kind of regroup with that. Because we don't want to get too communistic, right? We don't want to get into that stuff. But this is the thing. So I used to get mocked about this. No, like I know the difference between proper warriorship and care for the human race across the globe. And I know the difference between psychotic lunatics that like to blow babies up. And I'm not going to get into that witchcraft occult practice, but it's right here in your country, in the US of A. And those babies are everywhere, and women are more than happy to abort them, even late term. They get more money. And they'll use crack pipes and everything on the streets. So I don't know what everyone's thinking here, but the main message tonight was supposed to be, ladies, how about we put a few more clothes on and learn some useful skills? Because guess what? Spreading them and touching them, it's not a skill. It's called being human. And sex was given to humans to arouse them, to keep the human race alive. Not this. Not to this degree. We're never going to get rid of people that need to have down and dirty girls, but if the ones that aren't being held hostage, a gun to their head, or anything severe, threatened by a pimp of sorts, a handler to do it, or just coerced or drugged or anything in between, and you think this may be happening to you, I pray to God that you get to the nearest domestic violence shelter, a safe house for women and children. And see if you can maybe detox there. Get some of your memories back. Because they start to wipe the memories out on sex toy women. Now, and then all the men would be left with is these robots. But how about if we just stop selling our bodies? The ones that are doing it voluntarily. And they justify it from here to there and over there and up there and down. And I'll tell you what, you could knock out a good portion of our Americana problem with Jesus letting it get blown up. Thank you. I love you. Have a wonderful day.